Our wellness is our resistance. Let me repeat that. Our wellness is our resistance. When we think about the time that we're in right now, it's very important for us to stay grounded. So let's stay informed about what's going on because it's some crazy times right now. Yet we also need to do whatever we can to stay well, whatever that might look like. So we're going to have a conversation today about different ways that we can stay well as a people, as Black women. How can we stay well? What are different options and why it is essential for our resistance? So, if you are watching this right now and you feel swept away about all the crazy stuff going on, you are not sleeping well, you are looking at scrolling stuff all the time, you are getting very anxious and very sad about what's going on, you need to watch this video because we're going to be talking about different wellness practices to help you stay grounded and for us as Black women to remember our wellness is our resistance. If you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist of over 20 years. I'm also a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. I'm also the co-founder of the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, which just passed. If you would like to get the replay, that is available in the chat. It was amazing, not in the chat, description section. So if you want to get the replay, that's available to you. I'm excited to have my Spellman sister here with me today, Chef Bee. So I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Natasha Bruley, also known as Chef Bee, lifestyle medicine health coach, raw and plant-based chef, educator, and super excited to be here again with you, Dr. Kimani.
Thank you. Thank you. So if you've seen, Chef Bee's been on my channel before. Okay. So we've talked different ways. One time we did like even a live cooking demonstration because Chef Bee really talks about plant-based foods. So we're going to talk a little bit more about things that she has to offer, but we're going to dive into the conversation because when we think about our wellness as our resistance, many of us are familiar with Audre Lorde and her famous quote, and I'm going to read it to make sure I don't mess it up. So, caring for myself is not self indulgence, it is self preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. So, again, this resonates with me. It speaks to my soul because when I think about everything going on in the world right now, I say to myself and I remind myself of our ancestors that they found ways to persevere, they found ways to survive, and we will find ways to not only survive, but we will come out of this and we'll experience post-traumatic growth, but we have to be intentional about our wellness. So, Chef B, what is that quote? How does that resonate with you and what's going on right now in the world and in this country?
Yeah, I mean, I had to think through it, and what came to mind for me was a piece. I always share this piece with my coaching clients. There was a soul care, soulful sort of tour that Oprah Winfrey and Ayanna Van Zandt, they were on several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about, they were both on the stage talking about self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And Ayanna talked about the fact that it's actually very inauthentic to, just say that you got it all together and all of that. It's not real. It's just not a
Mm-hmm.
real thing. And we should really be operating from a place of being self-full. She talked, and then she went ahead and talked a little bit more about what self-full means. And
Mm-hmm.
really, self-full is putting you first, right? Putting you first by any means necessary. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was thinking about the quote, some of the things I said, and I want to read it so I don't miss anything. So when
Mm-hmm.
I think about all that we are up against living in America, I know for a fact that self-care and how we must consistently position ourselves to be well is really the ultimate form of ammunition against the system, but
True.
it requires work. It
Yeah.
is not something that we can do by ourselves. Our
Mm-hmm.
well-being is constantly challenged in the workspace with stress, in
Mm-hmm.
our environment with toxins, in
Mm-hmm.
some of our relationships, and the list goes on and on. We
Mm-hmm.
must take a position to take care of ourselves first,
Yes.
any means necessary.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
so and really that means putting yourself before your family. Like people say these things, these noble things like, oh, my family comes first. No, no. you got to come before your family, because if you're not okay, then your family ain't going to be okay.
True. True.
So and people look at that as a selfish statement, but
Mhm.
it's actually a self-full statement. It's like a reorientation of the words.
Mm.
Self-full. If
Mm.
you talked about it, Iyanla says, my cup runneth over.
Mhm.
What's in the cup is for me, and what comes out the cup is for y'all.
Ah, okay. 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 I can't pour from an empty
So
cup. I gotta be full.
you have to operate from a place of fullness. And so,
Mhm.
in order to move in this country, you
Yeah.
have to, and it's literally at every moment by moment, which can be very exhausting. What's a every
Mhm.
moment by moment decision, act.
Mhm.
I just did a video on YouTube a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago. What you're not changing, you're choosing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. So those of
Mhm.
you who want to check that out, go listen to it. Because literally, if there is something happening to you and you are electing to allow it to happen to you, then you're choosing it.
Mm.
You're
Good
choosing
point.
it. And I mean,
Point.
again, this work, it's exhausting. It's a lot of
Mhm.
work, but you cannot do it alone. We
Right.
need to, as Black women, come together, support each other, accountability partnerships, what we've created together, Kimani,
Mhm.
along with wherever spaces you're existing in.
Mhm.
We need
Mhm.
to have those, we need to have people in there they're in alignment with us.
True.
Otherwise, you're gonna feel alone and you're gonna feel overwhelmed and you're gonna feel like this stuff is beyond you. But when we like, they say if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go by yourself.
Mhm.
Want to go far, you got to go with others, right? That's the
True.
proverb. And so we have to lock arms as
Mhm.
Black women and
Mhm.
walk together in all of this. I just experienced my 30th Spelman reunion, 30th year reunion from Spelman 2 weekends ago.
Mhm.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And what was beautiful was just seeing everyone, like, everyone looks the same.
Mhm.
And then having the opportunity to dialogue with these women and seeing what people are dealing with.
Mhm.
And in that, it's like, oh, I'm going through that too, or she's
Mhm.
going through that too.
Mhm.
You are not by yourself out here.
Yeah.
You're not by yourself out here. And I know we're going to talk about strong Black womanship,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
A lot of times because we isolate ourselves, we don't talk about the things that we're struggling with.
Mhm.
We're silently suffering. We're
True.
silently suffering, and we need to stop that. We need to
True.
stop that. So
True, true. I have a number of follow-up questions for you. So, one, you talked about the issue of being selfish, and I think that for many of us, particularly in our generation, we've been brought up with you have to center everybody else, you got to take care of everybody else, you got to make sure everybody's good, you got to be humble, but not, you can be confident, but don't be overly confident. Like you give, 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 and the message also is that if you center yourself, that is selfish. How can we talk to, or what are some words that you can share with Black women to challenge that perception that if we center ourselves, then that means that we are selfish?
so I think, just got to look at the evidence, right? So I'm a math person. Let's look at evidence. When you are centering yourself, how do
Hmm.
you feel? Is your stress levels down when you're able to take a break and go for a walk, or stay in, call out from work for the day or for the
Hmm.
week and rest?
Hmm.
All of this is evidence based. But on the contrary, if you're doing all the things, if you're running, 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 is your
Hmm.
blood pressure elevated? Are your
True.
sugar levels up? Are you
Hmm.
eating, are you like, stress eating?
Hmm.
If you really sit and watch your behavior, it's
Hmm.
lifestyle medicine. That's what I do.
Mm.
You didn't watch your behavior. You're literally using yourself as the experiment. You're the scientist of yourself.
Mm.
You're the scientist of yourself first.
Mm. Hmm.
And you're watching, what happens when I do this? How do I feel? What
Hmm.
happens when I do this? How do I feel?
Hmm. Hmm.
Then the evidence is there for you to do more of the things that's going to make you thrive, help to elevate your spirit, help to
Mhm.
elevate you in your life, and
Mhm.
less of the things. That's how we coach people. You do less of the things that are hurting you.
True.
You have to identify and recognize and say it and claim it. It's hurting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hurting me.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first step in healing. You have to acknowledge what the hell is happening
Right. Acknowledge what's happening and identify the source of the problem.
and
So if
identify.
you're stress eating or if you're eating on the go and you're like, oh, I don't feel right. What is the source of that? It's the food you're eating. And
Look
why
at
are you eating this way? Why are you always rushing? So kind of interrogate. And I love what you said about being the scientist of your own life. So
Mhm,
collecting the evidence. Another thing that when we think about wellness, it's not only what we eat and our movement, but it's the community that we keep, the circle of people
mhm.
around us. Can we
Yes.
talk a little bit about this? I talk about the importance of us checking our circle. Can we talk a little bit about ways that our circle can influence our wellness as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, this sounds what I'm about to say might sound harsh.
Okay.
But it's something that we all have to do as we get older. It's an
Mhm.
audit. It's an audit. In the same way that you audit your finances, you have to audit your relationships.
Mm.
And if those relationships are no longer serving you, if they're
Mhm.
pulling from you, if they're not pouring into you, if
Mhm.
there's all this, there's feelings that you have when you're around certain people.
Right.
Will help to make you feel good. You just
Mhm.
feel good being in their presence.
Right.
You feel great being in your presence. You
Mhm.
guys want to share, you guys want to help each other, provide resources, all of that.
Mhm.
And then there are people they're vampires. They're
Yes.
leeches. They're literally taking your energy.
Mhm.
There's someone here in Atlanta that has a shirt, protect your energy. Protect your
Mm.
energy.
Yes.
There are people like that, and so we must do auditing all the time in our relationships, even in our marriages, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, whomever you're with,
Mhm.
and your friendships. And
Mhm.
honestly, if those relationships aren't elevating you, if
Mhm.
those people aren't doing things to help you to be the best you can be, then you have to it's not saying that you're like, forget you forever. It's just we gotta move differently. I have
Yes.
to move differently
Yes.
because I'm on a path of elevation, I'm on a path of healing, I'm on a path of being my best self. And if
Mhm.
you're not in community with those people,
Mhm.
it's gonna be a harder climb for you to get there. That's just
True.
the bottom line.
True, true, true. And I want to tell the audience a little bit how I even met you. Even though we were at Spelman at the same time, we didn't know each other at Spelman. We
I
didn't know each other at
know.
Spelman, which is amazing. But what's amazing is that we met through Hello Seven coaching
Right.
program,
Yeah.
and you, me, Kanika, a group of others. And Kanika is one of our other Spelman sisters. Hey, Kanika.
Look at
Um,
that.
that we came together, and now we are like accountability partners.
I
And
love
what's so amazing is that we are all in different fields, right? We're all in different fields, but we're all rooting for each other. Like
that's
Chef B, when you come on, you talk about, oh, and then I booked this, and we're like, what, girl? We
true.
are excited for you. And so I really hope that other Black women are able to see, as
Yeah.
Spelman alum, we all know about the power of sisterhood, right? But even outside of Spelman, what I want Black women to see is that sisterhood is possible no matter what age you are. So you don't have to be in college like, oh, well, that ship is sailed. No, you can still form sisterhood and community around you. And even though this is something I hear a lot, Chef B, I don't trust Black women because I've had some negative experiences with other Black women, or
Yes.
another Black woman did me wrong in the workplace. And, so then there's this generalization to other Black women. I say also that I've had negative experiences with other Black women in the workplace and other places, but I don't generalize that because most of the experiences I've had with Black women have been very, very, very positive. And
Mm,
so we have to think about how do we use discernment with identifying who are the people who need to be in our circle? And like you said, how do we do that audit of the people that don't deserve to be in our circle and maybe not cut them off, but have boundaries in terms of what information we share with them? If we're sharing our dreams with them and they can't receive it, then maybe don't share your dreams with them. If you're sharing with them about you're in a toxic job and they're telling you to stay there even though you're miserable there. My guest yesterday was talking about people were telling her to suck it up and stick it out, the toxic job. So people were saying that to you. Maybe that's not the people you share information with. I even remember, well, actually, I'm listening to this audiobook by Pinky Cole of Slutty Vegan, and hearing her story about how she started Slutty Vegan, how she lost it, how she regained it. But what was really interesting, her book is I Hope You Fail, because she was talking about ways that we could rechannel that negative energy of other people around us into identifying our circle and really stay focused on what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So, Chef B, can you, for the people who have not seen your videos before with me, can you just give like an overview of how you pivoted your life to walking more aligned with healthy living? Okay. Because you told us before in a previous video about how you were and how you were functioning, and you had like a wake up call. So I think it's helpful for people watching this to really understand your story, because then they could probably see themselves in your story as well. So can you just talk a little bit about what led you to plant-based eating and your whole different perception about wellness?
Yes. So, I mean, I must say that, I'm a child of the 90s. I mean, born in the 70s, but just grew up in the 90s. That's when I went to college, and I was very much just part of that hip hop generation. So
Mhm,
listening to the lyrics around conscious eating,
mhm,
living, right? Once I left home, I was able to be who I wanted to be fully.
mm,
And vegetarianism, we didn't call it plant-based lifestyle or veganism back then.
mhm.
I was a vegetarian, by choice.
Okay.
I was a what we would call a junk food vegetarian. I was eating
French
bad, but
fries.
I was eating bad, but
Uh-huh.
my consciousness was there,
Mhm,
and talking about sisterhood, the women that I was centering myself around were from New York, were of
mhm,
similar backgrounds, and we were conscious. We were trying to eat better. We were trying to be better. We were trying to read and all of that.
mhm,
So for me, in terms of how I got to this, it was always there. It just started to unfold as things happened. So
mm,
I, found myself in, you know, higher education as my sort of some people are in corporate America. I'm
mhm,
in higher ed, teaching and doing all the things.
mhm,
And, unfortunately, as I was studying, started having blood pressure issues, bad
mm,
relationships, all of those things just really created a problem, a wellness problem, a medical problem
mm, mm,
where, now I have hypertension, and I gotta figure some things out. And
mhm,
so really, and I always tell people I have she's now deceased, but I have a friend who really introduced me to that holistic lifestyle because she was really working to heal her cancer diagnosis.
wow.
And so as a result, she was very young when she got diagnosed with cancer.
Mm,
And I, listening to her, went and sought to heal myself as well. And
mm,
it was transformative. And in having that experience, I was like, this is what I want to do in my community. I
mm,
know I teach math. It's like, we have these passions, y'all,
mhm,
deep in our hearts, and going back to Job Liberation Summit,
mhm.
we all have things that we're good at,
Right.
our zones of excellence.
Mhm.
Really, if you think this is Gay Hendricks' work, if you think about your
Right.
zone of genius, this is where we need to be.
Mhm.
Then these are the passions that we hold deep within us that are effortless. The
Mhm.
things that we do that we don't have to work hard to do. It's just
Mhm.
who we are.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of those things for me is I'm a people person. I really connect to people very, very well. And I have a way of communicating things, information, easily.
Mhm.
Natural teacher. I'm a natural
Mhm.
teacher and I'm a natural connector. That's what
Mhm.
I do.
Mhm.
So as a result of being in the classroom and getting all those years of experience teaching and learning and how to put things together, deep in my heart, I love to cook. Deep
Mhm.
in my heart, I love wellness. When I go into a health
Mhm.
food store, something happens for me when I get to the farmer's market. I'm like, I feel better. I just feel better being amongst the plants. I'm like, "Ooh, I'm home."
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time. I'm now able to articulate that, but I'm like, I want to create that for others. I want to help others find that because I know
Mhm.
it's in them too. They just may not have accessed it in the
Mhm.
same way I've accessed it.
Mhm.
So, things happen in life. You have your failings, as Pinky Cole talked about, and
Mhm.
it's like, okay, how do I pivot? How do I, turn these lemons into lemonade?
Mhm.
So through my health challenges, I was like, I know other people are dealing with similar things.
Mhm.
I want to help people who are dealing with their health challenges shift and approach it differently.
Okay.
And hence, this wellness business was born. Um,
Got it.
so, I'm grateful. It's my ministry. I'm grateful that I'm able to operate within this space. Not
Mhm.
everyone gets an opportunity to have, a major career, and then do a shift and
Right.
pivot and do something completely different.
Yeah. So I want to drill down a little bit more into that because you had a PhD in mathematics, which I think is amazing. I can't even imagine that. You were teaching. And so what contributed to you saying, mm-mm, no more, right? So many of us have had toxic work environments and we stick it out, right? We stay for whatever reason, financial concerns, people telling us to stay, the societal expectations that we need to get to stay in this good job. So, what contributed to you saying, no, I'm pivoting out of here? And can you walk us through, like, what were the steps you took to pivot out? Because I want Black women to see your example, my example, that it's possible, right? I want to see that, but I also want them to hear from us. How did you do it? Like, what were the steps that you took? How did you do it?
All right, so I think first and foremost that training that I went to that like introduced me to this other possibility
Mm-hmm.
of something that I was deeply passionate about, and I saw someone doing it. I was like, ooh, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
do that, and I didn't have. I'm like, they're doing a business with this. They're teaching people how to cook, and they're
Mm-hmm.
teaching people how to be well, and
Mm-hmm.
ooh, I like that. So
It
I
lifts you
started
up.
it lit me up. So, I mean, I had started my business, a couple years after that, but
Mm,
at that time, I basically just started I was so motivated. I started just putting myself out there. That's how motivated I was. I was like,
okay.
"Let me create a Facebook page, and I'm just gonna share with people what I do." I'm gonna
Mhm.
talk about sprouting. I'm gonna talk about
Okay.
eating healthy. I'm gonna just
Okay.
talk it. I'm gonna show people. It wasn't about money. I wasn't making any money. I
Okay.
was just I guess that was my test phase,
Hmm.
right? And so I was still doing my full-time job,
Hmm.
but I was also doing, the new business venture without even knowing it was a business venture.
Right. So it kind of fed your curiosity. You loved it. And so you started doing it because you loved it. And so then you
Yes,
started sharing information with other people.
just
Okay.
started sharing information with other people.
Okay.
And then what I think happens in spaces like as a Black woman who is
Hmm.
very educated, I always feel like I have to get another degree in order
Mm.
be to be what they call an expert, right? And so because I hadn't had any formal training in, the culinary space,
Hmm.
I was like, who's gonna listen to me?
Hmm.
Who's
Hmm.
really gonna listen to me? Because what
Hmm.
started happening was, I mean, just wow, when I think about it, it's amazing how life is. I
Hmm.
lived in an area of Georgia called Gwinnett, and I lived in a predominantly international community, but it wasn't a lot of Black people in that community. And I
Hmm.
had a small son, and I really wanted my son to have a cultural experience like growing up, and where we lived, although it was close to my college campus, and it was like nice. I thought before I had him, I was like, my
Hmm.
life is perfect. I'm in my dream job. I got my house. I live close to work. My commute is like 10 minutes. I'm good.
Mhm.
But then I had a child and I'm like, wait a minute, this is not the ideal space for him to grow.
Mm. Okay.
So I started looking in Atlanta to be closer to him. As a
Hmm.
result of me doing that, some opportunities around wellness started popping up because I had someone who was, in the space of farming and agriculture. And so they would get different opportunities to their email. And there was one where they were looking for a chef to do chef demos at farmers markets, at senior citizen centers, at schools where you're talking about the produce and
Mhm.
you're just explaining to people how to use it, how to
Okay.
make it, all of that. And I said to her, I was like, girl, they ain't gonna hire me. I don't have no degree
That's
in
something you had a doctorate in mathematics,
right,
a graduate Spelman College,
right,
doctorate, I mean, yeah, a doctorate in
right,
mathematics,
right.
but you question yourself.
I'm
If
questioning
I don't
myself.
have
I'm questioning myself. So I'm just telling y'all because I know everybody out there, some of
yeah,
us
that's
be questioning
self-doubt.
ourselves. This is what it is. So
Yes.
I'm like, what? Me? No, I don't have a culinary background. They're not gonna hire me. She's like, girl, please. All them degrees, you better go on ahead and try to get this thing. And got it. And
Isn't
got
that
it.
something?
And so for many years, I worked with this organization doing demos at
Mhm.
senior citizen centers,
Mhm.
teaching them because we wanted to get them to the farmers market, and we wanted them to because there are all these benefits for elders going to the market. And
Mhm.
I did it in schools, and so my confidence started to build. That's the
Uh-huh.
point. We have
Uh-huh.
to do things. We have to step out on faith so that we could build our confidence. So
Right.
people said, "Oh my God, like the way you explained that. Oh my God." I'm like, okay, So I got feedback that what
Uh-huh.
I was doing resonated with people. I
Mhm.
had a little personality because I was using all the tools and the things that I developed over those many years in the classroom. I
Mhm.
just transferred all of those skills
Mhm.
to this new space, right? Because you have to have a personality to do these demos. It's almost like my show. Because when you're teaching, it's like a show,
Yeah. And
right?
you always well, can I say something right quick? Right quick. This is an example of transferable skills. So
Yeah,
even though you're not an expert in this area, you were already a mathematics professor, teacher,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
you're able to have the transferable skills. So what I want Black women to really hear from your story, Chef B, is number one, how we as Black women sometimes count ourselves out,
yes,
right? Like, oh, nobody's gonna hire me. Oh, I don't have this. I don't
yes,
counting ourselves out. But
yes,
then when we put ourselves in a situation, if somebody's saying, "Hey, this is the opportunity available to you," what does it hurt us to try it out?
yes,
That's the
yes,
first thing.
yes,
The second thing is you talked about having that sense of confidence. Like, so the more you did it, the more confident you were. And this is an example of being open and not count ourselves out. And those transferable skills, you as a can do that somewhere else. Okay, sorry,
absolutely.
I had to just highlight that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, so I want y'all to hear what we're saying. Like,
Yeah.
for those of you who are trying to shift,
Mhm.
you gotta move, you gotta get in action. And
Yeah.
I'm doing these things and then realize that, okay, these actually are the steps that you take if you're
Mhm.
trying to shift. And
Right.
actually, I started setting benchmarks for myself. That's the other thing. Okay, a few years pass. I'm like, all right, well, because with teaching, there's usually you're on a 10-month contract, and then in the
Mhm.
summer, there's no teaching. And then
Mhm.
you got to find your income in
Mhm.
the summer.
Mhm.
So if you do summer classes, boom, that's how people make up the difference. And then
Mhm.
I think one year I said, well, I'm not going to work in the summer. Let me see how much money I could make in the summer doing the business. Let me see.
Okay.
Let me see. Boom. I hit that. Then I was like, all right, let me see, if I can make money. And this happened more so toward like when we were in the pandemic because I didn't have
Mhm.
to actually go into the office
Right.
remote, right?
Right.
I was like, let me see if I can make my income doing this work. All right. And I hit that benchmark. I was able to make the amount of money, right? Doing what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about the same as me teaching. Then I was
Right.
like, all right, we're going for 6 figures. So I remember I had my first 6-figure year. And then I said, all right, the last step is I got to get my student loans forgiven.
Uh-huh.
And so I had already been working on getting my student loans forgiven as soon as I had gotten into that particular position. I was
Mm-hmm.
teaching at a college. I started in 2008. It was right when Obama got in office, and there
Mm-hmm.
was something called the PSLF, the
Mm-hmm.
Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that was the last thing. I was like, if I get my student loans forgiven, then I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And on like the eve of my birthday, I got my letter, did a reading, a spiritual reading and everything. And my student loans, they say you don't owe nothing else. 80 something $1,000 forgiven.
Yes,
So
I
yeah,
love
benchmarks, like that was over like literally a 14-year period, right? From when I
it. You had
started.
a plan.
That was a plan. And so I want to say something to you guys listening. Sometimes the plan that you have isn't a 12-month plan. It's just
Right. Right.
plan that you need to work might be a 3-year plan, a 4-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other piece of it is once I knew that I was leaving, I then said, okay, I got to pay some bills off.
Mm.
I got to
Smart.
pay credit cards off so that
Smart.
I'm not tripping. I'm not
Yeah.
stressed because I know how I feel around money.
Yeah.
And so it's like I got to pay these credit cards off. So I just got my mortgages, and then like there was no credit card debts. So I
Wow.
could kind of flow differently. And
Mm-hmm.
like the thing I've been out of my professorship for 2 years. And even in that, now in this role full time, there ebbs and flows and there's cycles of entrepreneurship
Right.
that you learn. So even like it's almost like you have to take that risk,
Mm-hmm.
and I think everybody has to do it differently,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't really, I don't think, embody what's happening until you kind of walk away from the thing.
Right.
Because almost like the job that you might have is still the
Mm-hmm.
crutch. You're not
Yeah.
fully looking at all the pieces of the business that you need to look at, or
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're doing, because this thing is still happening. Now
Yeah.
that it's no longer something that I could go back to, I'm looking at my business with a whole nother lens.
Yeah.
Now understand the cycles of my business. I understand when my high seasons are, when my low seasons are, and
Mm-hmm.
like really what that means financially and the impact of it. The impact of it
Mm-hmm.
financially, because there's no cushion. It's
Right.
just this. It's
Right.
just this, right?
Right. Right.
So I think it's very important to give yourself, permission to have that experience,
Mm-hmm.
and to not be afraid.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship can be a little scary, I
It
must
can be
say.
scary. It can.
It
Yes.
can be a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that we're told that security, oh, if you go work it, this is secure. You see what happened to these federal employees?
Nothing is secure right now.
You see what happened? These
Yep.
people thought they would be dying in their positions.
Yep.
I
Yep.
actually have a client, 47 years working for the federal government. She started at 16 years old
Wow.
and was really forced to retire. And now she's just like, well, what am I gonna do?
Mm,
Like she's like, I don't know anything else. She's not
mm,
in a bad situation because she's
mhm,
given 47 years of service.
mhm, mhm.
But think about some of the other Black women out there who may have put in less time, but they literally thought, this
Yeah,
is it. I got the job. I'm
yeah,
good.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I do want to give y'all like, permission. It's good to fail. Like it's good to mess up. I
Mhm,
do think that you do have to be strategic in this
mhm,
economy
mhm.
because things are very expensive.
Yeah.
things are awry, but it's an opportunity. There are opportunities for you to think differently, think
Mhm.
creatively,
Mhm.
also think about how we could work together.
Yeah.
How you
Oh,
work with Black women to advance everyone's goals. So I like to say it's a New York thing, so we could all eat.
yes.
Think about how we could come together so we could all eat. You cannot be operating in your silos right now.
No.
So when we
No.
talked about when we open up this conversation around wellness, we can't operate in silos with our wellness. We cannot operate in silos when it comes to our business and making
Mhm.
money and all the
Mhm.
things that we do. We got to pull in each other and support each other.
Exactly, exactly. So several things. I think that because of what's happening right now, it's showing us as Black people that we have to find different ways to navigate this craziness. And one of the ways is that we support one another. The other thing that I love what you said, Shepi, is that you took calculated risks. So you were like, okay, I got a plan. It's a long plan. Okay. So first I'm gonna see this. Okay, I'm collecting data. Okay, I can do that. Now let's try this. Okay, I can do that. And so it was a longer plan, but it gave you a sense of self assurance that the
Yeah.
data was confirming that you would be able to go to the next step. So I
Yeah.
love that you laid it out like that. So I know, shifting a little bit, I know that you are spearheading a hydration challenge. So
Yeah.
can you please share what is the hydration challenge? Why is it important for us as Black women right now?
Oh my gosh. So y'all, where do I begin? So I'll be quite frank with you. I go to a holistic doctor,
Hmm.
and we look at different things. Again, I'm very evidence based because of
Hmm.
my background. I just like the data. And I had never gone to a doctor that was checking to tell me, oh, what my kidney functions were and all of that.
Okay.
And so, my kidneys are fine.
Hmm.
But I remember she was like, it's like a grade. The more water you drink, the higher functioning your kidneys will be.
Hmm.
If you don't drink enough water, your kidneys will start to deteriorate. She
Hmm.
described it as, those little, like you go into the spas and they
Hmm.
have those little water fountains with the rocks and all of that.
Mhm, mhm,
She said, you see how that water is just sort of looping?
mhm,
She said, that's how your kidneys are functioning. And she said, after a while, if you don't add water back to that fountain, after a while, it'll just break down. The motor will break down. The
cool,
kidneys are the same way. I was like,
mm,
what? Like, I don't know. That just did something to me. She's like, yes. She's like, it literally just cycles the same, fluid that it's trying to remove because it
mm,
doesn't have any water to push it out. So it's
mm,
cycling that stuff in your system. And
okay,
so it just really pushed me to think about my hydration. Also, again, dealing with hypertension, it
mhm,
actually helps to hydrate with high blood pressure.
mm,
So if you think about it like this,
mhm,
the people who use diuretics, who are
mhm,
high blood pressure medication,
mhm,
the reason
mhm,
why they're using those diuretics is to push sodium out of the system. And that helps to push the blood pressure down.
mhm,
Well,
mhm,
the water is your natural diuretic. So if you actually drank more water, you wouldn't really need those diuretics.
mm,
And I just started talking to people. I'm like, yo, do you drink water? I just asked. And people are like,
mhm,
oh, it's like they get embarrassed. They're like, oh, and Black women in particular, because I know so many teachers, we
mhm,
especially don't drink water because there's this need to stay in the classroom.
ah,
Right? You can't leave because you have small children, and so
yeah,
as a result, you're either front loading the water or you don't drink at all.
oh
You
my
don't drink
gosh,
at all throughout the day. Yeah, so
woo,
people who have desk jobs, right? They're sitting all day. They may not be eating properly. They're not drinking water. And so I
mm,
just started asking people, do you drink water? Oh
mm,
man, not enough. Oh, like people who work out, they're just not drinking enough water.
mhm,
And for
mhm,
me, it's so connected hydration to so many of the health challenges that we as Black people are experiencing, specifically
ah,
Black women,
okay,
hypertension, obesity.
Mm.
Viruses, you know, when you're properly hydrated, viruses can't stick to your body, stick to your cells because there's a buoyancy that you have, right?
Mhm.
That the water provides, and when you aren't hydrated, you can get sicker easily. That's why they tell you when you start getting sick, drink some water, right? And
Mhm.
so there's so many diseases and issues that we experience as Black people as a
Mhm.
result of chronic dehydration.
Mm.
And so for me, it's like it's now like almost I feel like it's a mission because I'm talking to people, talking to my Spelman sisters. We're up in age, we're 50 plus. They're
Mhm.
telling me about all sorts of things. They're telling me about being dry. They're telling me about all these hormonal imbalances that they have.
Mhm.
And by no means am I saying that water will cure
Mhm.
things, but
Mhm.
water will certainly support you in feeling better and helping to maybe even reverse some of the things that you're dealing with.
Uh-huh. So tell us about the hydration challenge. What's involved in it? I'm going to put on the screen about the hydration challenge. It's
Yes.
also in the description section of the video, okay? So the
Okay.
hydration challenge registration information is right on the screen, and it's
Yes.
also in the description section of this video. So tell us about the challenge, what's involved, what's the dates and the deadline, all that kind of stuff.
So we started the first hydration challenge back in April, and we had maybe like 14 people join. We actually have the community in school, so it's off of Facebook, but you're in a community with people who really want to work on their hydration. So it's a little bit of a competition, which is kind of nice because I do offer prizes, first, second, third place prizes for the people who are as consistent as possible with their hydration. We did it for 7 days for the first challenge, but for
Mhm.
this one, we're doing it for 14 days. One,
Mm.
I'm helping people to build a habit. 7 days is cute, but we want you to be hydrating way beyond the challenge. We want you to
Okay.
develop good water drinking skills. And
Okay.
so during the challenge, you will not only get to engage with other people who are, working to be like you,
Mhm.
hydrators, but you'll also hear from experts in various medical fields why hydration is important from that particular perspective.
Mm.
So I have, chiropractors coming in, physicians coming in, and
Mhm.
and myself, and we're going to be talking about, quality of water, how you properly hydrate,
Quality of water.
quality of water,
Huh.
proper hydration as it relates to the amount that you specifically need. All
Hmm.
right. What is it doing in the body as it relates to, from a chiropractic perspective?
Mhm. Mhm.
How's it helping to address certain illnesses? All of these things we're going to talk about. And the cool thing I'm going to do this year is we're going to actually, this time around, we're going to do accountability buddies because
Oh.
I do think that in the same way that the community as a whole is an accountability piece,
Mhm.
having someone that you can tap into one on one is
Mhm.
also helping to help you to find a friend who is in alignment with you and some of the things that you're interested in accomplishing in your wellness. But
Mhm.
then it's also fun. Like you can push that person to, get to their goal and they can push you to get to your goal.
Okay. Is
So
this only for Black women? Is it open?
it's open for, I mean, most of the people who come are Black women,
Okay.
but it's for, I call them hydrators, for people who really need support with their hydration. I
Hmm.
do think that Black women this has resonated the most with Black women because all of
Mhm.
the people who have registered have been Black women for this.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
so people are seeing the need for this for themselves
Mhm.
because, they're seeing things change in their bodies and
Mhm.
they want to address it. And their doctors might have said to them, you need to drink more water.
Hmm.
It's going to be an issue long term. And
Okay.
so having a space where they can really address it, is a right on time for some people.
Right. So the deadline to register is May 30th. What are the dates for the challenge? I know it's 14 days.
Yeah, so June 1st through the 14th will be the
Okay.
date of the challenge. And yeah, I'm really excited about this work.
Mhm.
Yeah, another way, another entry point to really talk to people
Mhm.
and really help them to shift one aspect of their lifestyle. And by drinking more water consistently, properly
Mhm.
hydrating, can be a game changer with so many things.
Okay. So are you gonna have the guests? I heard you say you're gonna be on, you're gonna have guests to come on. So what time of day is this? What's the time expectation for the lives that you guys are gonna do?
Yes. So when we do the lives, they're going to be in the evenings. And so I think we definitely need to talk to our participants to see what works best for them. But
Okay.
even if it's usually going to be in the evening, everything's virtual. So it's not like you have to show up somewhere. If you are anywhere in the country, you can participate. And
Mhm.
even if you can't make it to any of our lives, everything will be recorded and will be placed in our community online for you to actually, get those recordings and those replays.
Beautiful.
So there's a lot of great information around hydration, things that people haven't even thought about,
Hmm.
and why this is important. And so, I'm inviting all of you to come and join us and hydrate and really work together to. This is like we talked about being self-full and wellness as an act of resistance.
Hmm. Hmm.
These are the small ways that you can begin doing that,
Mm.
right? These challenges and finding communities where there are people who are like-minded and doing things that you're interested in doing.
Right.
This is how you get going with that. Some
Yeah.
people aren't sure how to get started. This is how you get started. Do a challenge. Do a something that's a little bit different.
Hmm.
Some people, "Oh, I drink water." Okay, cool. So let's see. Let's see how much water you drink. Do the
Mm.
challenge yourself to really go through the experience and learn some things. So, and then also, someone who is underhydrated. You know somebody who's not drinking enough water.
Right.
Invite them to come on this challenge. If you feel very confident that you drink enough water,
Hmm.
beautiful. Bring them along on the journey and you guys work together and do this. I have,
Okay.
one of my aunts, she saw one of my posts,
Hmm.
and I was so grateful that she joined.
Oh, your aunt joined.
One of my aunts joined, yes, and I was
Ah, okay.
yeah, she's in New York. I was like, "How cool is that?" So, I encourage, because we all know people who are not they need some support,
Hmm.
and we could be the support by joining along and supporting them and rooting for them and standing for them. Gotta
Yes.
stand for them while we're standing for ourselves.
So true. So true. Like a both and. Both and.
The whole thing. And guys, the investment is $30. It's not a huge investment. $30.
Yeah, that's
But
nothing. That's nothing. I mean, not discounting people who are having financial concerns, right? Oh, look, one of our Spelman sisters joined.
yeah, look,
Hey, sis.
I see you,
Hey,
Niasha.
sis. I
Niasha
love
is
it.
Niasha is my class of 1995 sister, and yes, she did join. So
I
thank you
love it.
again, Dr. Niasha, for joining. Yes, so I'm
Yes.
encouraging all the women in various communities to do this, because let me tell you, as we get older, y'all, all these dialysis clinics that's popping up all over the country, people think it's just about diabetes. It's not. There are other reasons why those dialysis clinics are there. People who are
Oh,
dealing with
share.
lupus, people who are dealing with, complications from being on high blood pressure medication,
Mm.
and along with all these other medications.
Mm-hmm.
And your kidneys and your liver are filtration systems. They just are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
over time, they take a hit from all of those medications. And so if you can start shifting things in your lifestyle to combat that, then you want to do that. Remember, what you're not changing, you're choosing. What you're
Oh,
not changing, you're choosing.
mm.
And so
Remember
if
that.
you know that you are chronically dehydrated and you ain't doing something about it, then you're choosing that.
Yeah.
Well, you now got to ask yourself, why am I choosing that?
Yeah.
Why am I choosing that? You
Yeah.
have to do that work of asking,
Yeah.
you know?
What are some of the signs that somebody could tell that they're dehydrated or they're just not drinking enough water? What are some of the signs?
The most common one is your urine color. So if your urine color is not clear,
Mm.
then you're not hydrating properly. It's
Uh-huh.
like, now it does change throughout the day.
Oh, it does.
It does change throughout the day depending on how much you're drinking.
Okay.
But the sure sign that you're dehydrated is you have yellow urine. That's one. There's
Okay.
also a buoyancy in the skin, right? So if you're properly hydrated, then the skin should bounce back. But if it kind of just you pull it and it kind of stays,
Oh,
then that means that
you are dried out.
you dried out. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, this one is a little interesting. But people talk about having, they're dry down there. I actually wrote about this recently in my blog post. I do a weekly blog. So for those of you who would like to get a wellness perspective, we have this essentially Chef B Friday blog post, and I talked about that. I talked about how hydration can impact your sex life,
Wow.
right? Because you can be dry down there,
Mm,
and one of the challenges with that is, you're not pushing all of the sugars out the system,
mm,
not pushing the salts out the system, right?
mhm, mhm,
So you can be more prone to yeast infections and
mm,
pH of your body, your gut being off.
mm.
All from not hydrating, being dry. Like I said, not that buoyancy. Well, if you dry on the outside, y'all, you dry on the inside. That's just
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Ooh,
something
okay.
we got to deal with as we get older. So these are just some things to think about.
Yeah. So, Sheppy, can you give us a little sneak peek of something? Because I wrote down, you said the quality of the water. Can you elaborate on that? What is that? I'm like, what? What do you mean by that?
Yes, I mean, just like what's your water source? So I'll just, I don't want to give away too much, but the water
Mhm.
source, we got to question where our water is coming from, right?
Mm, mhm,
And
mhm.
so when you're hydrating, you want to question where your water source is coming from.
Right.
So, we talk about that, how to get the best quality water. What do you do? Where is it? What do you need to avoid? All of that. Yes. Thank you, Marion. She says, "Oh, wow, this is great information." Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I love it. Thank you for watching. I hope you sign up for the challenge, the hydration challenge. So, Chef B, as we're winding down, can you please share with the audience what are the other services that you offer?
Yeah, so I offer a few things, but the one of the main pieces is our palette reset lifestyle reboot. And the palette reset is a 3-week experience where you get raw food from me. You basically get an experience around the food. Many of the people who come to me are looking to transition their lifestyle to a plant-based lifestyle, but they're
Okay.
just not sure how to do that. And so
Hmm.
we've created the palette reset lifestyle reboot to give people that experience so that they could see what it feels like to be cared for also. As Black women, we need to be cared for with the food so that we don't have to worry about too much. You
Mm-hmm.
just decide, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do the work, you do the rest. That's
Hmm.
what we do. So
Okay.
that's what the palette reset lifestyle reboot is. It is a raw food and cooked plant-based food experience with coaching and support to help you to shift your relationship with food.
And
That's what.
that's virtual?
Well, yes, the all of that coaching is virtual. If you are we do ship nationwide, so yes, we can ship the food to you wherever you are, and then
Hmm.
once you get the food, all of the other things are virtual. So
Awesome.
that's really, really nice. We start the first Monday of the month. If
Okay.
you're outside of Atlanta, we just you would start like maybe Tuesday because your food has to get shipped to you. But
Okay.
you get food for 3 weeks, and you just really think about how you view food,
Mm.
how you engage with food, your behaviors, all these things that we've been talking about, and why you're choosing the things that you're choosing. So that's
Mm.
one piece. That's one way that I like to have people come and, get introduced to me. We do offer meal prep,
Okay.
plant-based weekly meals, and the Palette Reset is connected to that. But then we
Okay.
also offer lifestyle medicine coaching. I have the Healing Me First coaching program. And
Hmm.
so with that, for people who are really looking to have a lifestyle change, they work with me for 4 months, and we really interrogate some of the challenges that they're having around their lifestyle. And then we do cooking classes. So there's so many of us out here who really want to get some really good recipes under their belt. They don't feel confident in the kitchen. And so they'll come to the wellness center and they'll take cooking classes with me so that they can really learn how to eat seasonally, bring some new ingredients that they've never tried before into their home. And they walk away with that experience just having new recipes and just a wonderful cooking experience where they're just like inspired to like do something else.
Okay.
So we like to say our framework is culinary, cleansing, coaching, and community.
Mm.
Those are the pieces of what we do. The food piece, the coaching to support people,
Mm-hmm.
the cleanses, which we said is pretty much like a cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
This challenge is like a cleanse too. And then we bring everybody together in our Healing Me First with Chef Bee community.
Awesome. And also, do you do like events? Do you like cater events?
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, how could I forget?
That was my pouring into you, sis. That was my like,
Look
girl,
at
you got
you. I know.
everything to do.
So
Okay.
yes, we started because so it's a new offer. We now do catering. And so we do retreats. I recently did a 5-day retreat at Serenbe. If you don't know where Serenbe is, y'all, it's beautiful. But I was hired to be a caterer there. We do event catering, we do lunches. People who are really looking to give their people something different. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to give them the same old chicken, beef, pork lunches. They want to do something more elevated. So
Mm-hmm.
we recently started doing catering and offering that as well. So yes, thank you. Thank you. Look at my sister looking out for me. I don't forgot
I
that
was
that's
like,
a new
girl, I know we
offer.
talked about this before
Girl.
the accountability call. Like, what?
Yeah, so we do that. So yeah, so those are the pieces, and that's under the culinary as well. So yes, y'all.
Beautiful.
And look, I will travel. So if you want me to come to another city and cook for y'all, you're gonna have a blast. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
And healthy eating. Healthy
Healthy,
eating.
beautiful, elevated food. Like the feedback that I get from people all the time is, man, I feel healed. I feel your love. I feel the
Mm,
intention. And man, that makes me feel so like, okay, you're doing the right thing. You are on the right
absolutely.
track. You are on the right track.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So everyone, where would the information be, Chef B, about all the other offers you have? How can people access that?
yeah, so they can go to chefb.com, and that is my website.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna put here all of the details. So the palette reset,
Hmm.
I'm putting that on here as well.
Okay.
If you're interested in doing a reset, you can definitely go to this link. And then if you're someone that needs meal prep, we do ship nationwide, y'all. So don't worry about, oh man, I live in another city. That's okay. We could do it. So the chefb.com, that's global. That's everything. Palette reset. And I messed up and I typed in reset wrong, but it's the palette
Oh,
reset. And
oh,
then
okay.
essential
You want to
meal.
retype it? Why don't you
Yeah,
type it again?
I'm gonna do it. Yep, I'll
Okay.
do it.
And then
And
essentially go.
the other piece is we have this YouTube channel. So please, we would love for you to follow us on YouTube. All right. I am Chef B is the handle on YouTube. We share all sorts of wonderful conversations with folks who are looking to change their life, who've worked with us, and again, sharing with you their stories, because we know that in their stories some people see themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to recap. So tell people again about each one.
Yes. So the websites you're talking about?
Yeah. So each one I'm going to profile, just to tell them what this is for as I profile it on the screen.
Yes. So okay, chefb.com. This is global. This is where you can learn more about me. You can check out the blog posts. You
Mhm.
can check out everything there. Learn about what we offer. And then the next one is Essential Meals to Go. If you're looking to bring healthy meals into your family's home, your home, weekly meals. We have 3 different meal plans. They're all plant-based, they're all healthy, they're all internationally inspired foods. You can go there to get that. And then the palatereset.com, basically, if you want to shift your relationship with food, you want
Mhm.
to, eat more plant-based foods, but you're just not sure how, you can
Mhm.
do one of our resets. And we start the first Monday of the month. So get your mind right and come on and do a reset with us. And then, of course, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post pretty regularly. We post shorts, and then of course longer form content, talking to our customers, clients, people that we've worked with, to learn more about them and how we've impacted their lives.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so everybody check it out. Again, I'm going to put the hydration challenge here.
Yes,
All
yes,
of our information will be in the description section. You need to register by May 30th.
yes,
So the hydration challenge is from June 1st until the 14th.
yes.
Okay. If you want any additional information about other services that Chef Bee offers. Again, I'll be in the description section of this video. And I just want to read a few of the comments. Everybody was saying hello and greetings. Hello, everyone. I see someone said plant-based gang in the house. And talking about what we consume social entertainment online in our environment, et cetera, right? So all these things affect our wellness. And I really appreciate what you talked about doing an audit of our lives, about what are all the things contributing to our wellness and all the things that are impeding on our wellness, and be intentional about coming up with a plan and the action part. So it's not just the plan, it's the action. What are we actually doing about that?
Yes.
Another comment, hello all. And yes, boundaries are hard and necessary. And so is openness sharing. It's learning when each is necessary, such a skill. Yes. It
Mhm.
always starts with leaving homes. You talked about when you
Yes.
are more aware of your healthy eating, right? We're on our own. Yes, that's true. Health food stores are magic. And when you find something that heals you, you want to share it with the world. At least us Black women do.
Yep,
Agreed.
yep.
Yes. Any math or science specialties, you can cross that anywhere and make big bucks.
It's
Okay,
true. Thank you
herbal
for that,
sales.
Martina. That is so true. Yeah. Because
Did you want
remember, I was
to
talking
comment on
about how I wasn't feeling confident, but she's right. Like just having that math background, it's so
that?
translatable and transferable. It's incredible. I didn't realize how transferable it is, but literally you have to teach yourself so many things. And so I could teach myself anything based on the content that I've had to teach myself to get a PhD and all of that. So like give me an hour and I have to tell a lecture. I could do it. I could do it. And it's from being a mathematician.
Yeah. And I think really knowing and leaning into, wait a minute, I have all these skills and talents. I can use it somewhere else. But
Yes.
sometimes we lose sight of that for a number of reasons. One is I think we get so beat down sometimes by these work
Mhm.
environments that we start doubting ourselves to think that, wait a minute, I can't do this. We start self-gaslighting ourselves. So I'm so glad that you reminded us of that. Another comment, right? Water is like the trash can, no can, trash everywhere. It's because it's great information. And I also want to say for our Spellman sister, that's Nasha, thank you so much for tuning. And again, she joined the Hydration Challenge. And just a preview that she is going to be my guest on Father's Day, as we're going to be talking about the continuum of Black women with their fathers, and
Mm,
just looking at the role that fathers or not having a father present, the
mhm,
ways that can impact us on so many different levels. It can impact us in the workplace. It can
mhm.
impact us in relationships, friendships, on so many different levels. So get ready on Father's Day. There we're going to have a very open
So good.
conversation about the impact of fathers, either having a father present in the home or not having the contact, depending on whatever it could be. It could be, the father is not present for whatever reason, has no contact. It could be issues of divorce. It could be issues of death. So what happens when a father's not present in a Black woman's life? So think about, it's a Black girl going up to a Black woman.
Hmm.
in that relationship. So I'm looking forward to that conversation on Father's Day. It's going to be very, very powerful. It's going to be the same time on Sundays for my Sunday live. So it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Pacific time. So, Chef B, last words as we're winding down for today. What are the last words you want to share with everybody as we wind down today?
What I want to say to you, beautiful folks who are watching, is it is not selfish to put yourself first. It's selfful. And there's small things that you can do to really be in charge of your wellness. Hydration is definitely one of them.
Hmm.
Join me on the hydration challenge. I would love to have you all here. And, if you are someone you're shy, or just find one person. Find one person that you can talk to and share information with on a daily basis. All you need is one person that you're texting, communicating with, checking in with. Just find one person that's going to support you and that wants to stand for you and stand for them in return. That's it. And then let's see how that goes. So you want to take one step forward if there's some things that you want to change. What you're not changing, you are choosing.
Ooh.
And so please think about what you're choosing. Think about what you're choosing, because you
Hmm.
can absolutely at any time work to change it before it's too late.
So important, so important. So everyone, again, thank you for watching today. Please give this video a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know to suggest this video to other Black women who could benefit from this information. And this video is an example of what I call like a palette reset. So I know Chef B talks about palette reset. So this is like a palette reset video because periodically I like to do videos that apply to all Black women. So if you're in a toxic job, if you're not, if you're in a this relates to all Black women that we need to be intentional about our health, that we need to recognize our wellness is our resistance. We will resist, we will rise, but we have to stay healthy. And so we have to be mindful of doing whatever we can to stay healthy. I'm so honored to have my Spelman sister here with me today, that we are talking about ways that we can stay hydrated and stay healthy. So again, thank you, Chef B, again for being my guest today. Everyone, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe to Chef B's channel, please do so. It's all free. It is literally free to subscribe to our YouTube channels.
Yes.
Also, if you haven't already gotten the replay of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, it was fire. I'm telling you, it's fire. Okay. If you were not able to come to the live, you can come get the replay. And when you come to the replay, if you're looking for a community of other Black women, we have a WhatsApp group, the Job Liberation Virtual Summit WhatsApp group. And that group, when I tell you that they are on there having meetups and sharing information with each other, it is truly beautiful. So again, if you're looking for a community, if you're looking at the how do I leave from a job to do very well to create your plan, then get the replay of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit. So everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
good night.